Hello, Internet. This is Whispering Whim, bringing you yet another grocery haul today. And you might notice that I have yucky plastic bags instead of my usual reusable ones. I was tired this morning. I wasn't thinking straight. But I feel bad for all the plastic that I'm using. But that's what happens sometimes, right? Anyways, let's go ahead and start with our first item, and that is some Rice Krispie treats. That's for my guy's lunches. Got quite a few dessert items for him this time around. I like to, swap in ones in and out so that he's not eating the same lunch every day, right? And then this noisy little guy is some Spanish rice mix. If you've never had it before, it's basically like just a dirty pilaf with tomato and whatnot in it. And I'm going to be making a Peruvian chicken. I always laugh. I started a meal kit, right? And I'm not going to do free advertising for them, so I won't discuss who they are or anything, but I have to laugh because sometimes they make things sound a bit more exotic than they really are, like Peruvian chicken. I think I've talked about this one already. The spice blend is like a generic packet of fajita mix, which in itself is basically taco seasoning with some brown sugar added. But yeah, okay. Moving along, I have some avocado oil, just a little bottle of it. I normally get a really large bottle at Sam's Club, the bulk warehouse store that I use, and I thought I was going to do Sam's Club today, but as I was grocery shopping, I had already realized I missed my bags, and I nearly got into an accident because there was a construction zone. That was not fun. And I said, so sitting there in the store, and I was like, I can't do two stores today. I can't. So I got a little bottle to hold us all over until I make it to Sam's Club, which probably won't be for another week or two. Next up, got some Saltine crackers, the little fresh stacks where they're shorter, and I've really been on a saltine kick lately. Well, it's been more of a tuna fish kick, but I put the tuna fish on the saltine crackers. So I went through my last box surprisingly fast. I was like, oh, maybe I need to get the bigger sleeves, but I know as soon as I do that, I'm going to have a bunch of stale crackers. And then we're going to have some diced tomatoes. That's for the Spanish rice mix. And then some good old flour tortillas. This making myself burritos now has been a lunch item for me. And we'll see how long that kick stays on for. Moving along, we've got some English muffins. There we go. What are English muffins called in England? I don't think I know that one. I'm sure they don't call them English muffins up there. If you've never had one, it's like, it's definitely bread. It's very spongy, has very big holes in it, has a lot of chew to it. I'm kind of curious now. I'm sure someone in the comments section will let me know. And if they don't, maybe I'll Google it later. Okay. Here we have some Scooby snacks, and I'm excited that they finally, at Winco, for the longest time, and I could never figure out why, in the big box like this, they only had the honey flavor, but in the individual packets, they only had the cinnamon flavor. And my guy prefers cinnamon, any extra flavor, more spice to anything is usually what he prefers. But I felt bad buying the individual packs. I do it sometimes. I kind of go through phases, really, with that. But, you know, eco-friendly wise, it's better to get a big box and put it in Tupperware containers, right? Usually it's a bit cheaper that way too, although not always. Okay, so we have some brownie mix. This is an unusual item for me. So Wednesdays are my day to take care of my grandfather. It started out as just having lunch with him, getting him out of the house. He had to get rid of his car. Gosh, it probably was a year ago now. You know, and just making sure he could get out and do things. But his health has been declining. I think really it's not so much his physical, like it is physical, but I think he's giving up mentally and it's affecting everything else. That's just my impression. But anyways, one of the things that has been happening is that he has no appetite. And I guess this is a very common thing with elderly people. They lose their sense of taste. You know, they remember something being really good and then they have it and it's not good and they complain that, you know, the product has changed. And sometimes that's true too. But I think it's a lot of just nothing is tasty anymore, which is sad. I love food so much. I hope I don't get too old. But anyway, one of the things he still seems to eat a lot of is dessert. Cookies and donuts and all of that. And he always goes and gets like anytime we're in Walmart, he has to go check out the day-old bin, see what kind of pastries are in there. And then he complains that they get too hard and he has to throw some out. But I know he likes brownies. And I haven't really seen him pick any brownies up for himself. So I'm going to take the risk and make him a box of brownies. And I wasn't sure whether to get the dark chocolate or the milk chocolate. I'm kind of second guessing myself, and I feel like I should have gotten the milk chocolate. It's so hard, because he's really not going to like it anyways. He's been trying, my grandfather. He knows he's a bit of a curmudgeon, so he's been, like, around me, you know, putting on a few more pleasantries than he had been. But he's an unhappy fellow. And I don't know any more that I can do to fix it. You know, I hang out with him. You know, we talk. I try to get him to go on walks. We eat, obviously. Sometimes I clean his house. Yeah. All right. Moving on. We've got some apples. Good old Granny Smith apples. My guy likes it when they're nice and tart. And then let's see here. We've got probably too many jalapenos, if there is such a thing. I thought they looked really pleasant today. They were, you know, nice big ones without a lot of scarring or wilting or anything. So I already knew I needed a little bit for the Peruvian chicken. It's like we make quick pickle jalapenos to go on top. But I thought maybe I'd do some stuffed jalapenos too, with like cream cheese and bacon and all of those fun goodies. And then we have some good old blueberries. Price was surprisingly good on blueberries. Well, we'll see how the quality is. And then we have some raspberries. The price wasn't quite so good on the raspberries as it was on the blueberries, but I don't know, blueberries just by themselves, I don't know, it's like too much repetition, I guess. I like to mix them, or you know, put the blueberries in something like a smoothie. Then I don't mind it being only blueberry flavored. No, that's a weird little thing of mine. And then we've got some red pepper and tomato soup. This is the brand I normally get. It looks like they went through a packaging redo. So I was a little lost for a moment when I was in the aisle looking for that guy. But yeah, some good old soup for me. Got some spaghetti noodles. Got some more instant sourdough, which I've said once, but I'll say it again. It's not really the same as having sourdough, but it's pretty tasty. I like it. And then we had, I'll probably edit that out, but we had a can of refried beans that just decided it needed to clunk on the ground and roll away. But that's for my lunch burritos, maybe some breakfast burritos, we'll see. Like, you can go any way with it. You can add eggs, you can add leftovers. Burritos they're nice. they're a nice way to use up things that I have around. And then next up, some Great Northern beans, white beans for my white bean chili. That one's, I think we went like almost a month without having white bean chili. Almost. I make it quite often. And last but not least, for that particular bag, we have some Sour Patch Kids. Something I've noticed, so on the weekends, my husband stays up later than I do. I like to have the same bedtime all week long. It doesn't make sense for me to go up and down, up and down. So I'll go to bed, and then after I go to bed, he'll go find himself a little snack. And it's not like he's not allowed to have snacks, but he always waits until I go to bed. I bet you if I asked him about it, he would say that he just didn't want to like tempt me because I'm always dieting, or maybe that he just would say he wasn't hungry until after that point. I don't know. So these are kind of going to be his like movie snacks. And I got him some Sour Patch Kids because in one of my in-between shopping trips, I had gotten some like fruit leathers, and I got them for me. But he saw them and he like, oh, I gotta have that. And he ate them. And there was only like 5 in the box, so it was kind of sad. And I realized that he really likes like fruity, gummy things. And I know he loves sour things. I was like, why don't I just make sure there's a gummy type candy on hand for him? Because then he won't have to eat my fruit leathers. Which I guess the fruit leathers are a bit healthier. They probably have a little bit of fiber to them. But they're just so expensive. Oh, anyways, maybe if I find a big pack of them at Sam's Club, which I haven't seen for a while. There used to be one brand of fruit leather you could get at Sam's Club, but I haven't seen that in ages. Okay, well, moving along. Got some crispy fried onions. Speaking of that meal delivery service, it's really an ingredient delivery service, right? One of the things they like to do, I guess, to just add pizzazz to the dishes, because they're very limited ingredient-wise dishes, and that's good for them because they don't have to send quite as many things or keep quite so many things in stock. But a lot of their dishes do tend to get a little bland compared to what I normally cook, so I end up adding stuff. But anyways, that's a very roundabout way to talk about how they just randomly add fried onions to like dishes, like as a soup topping or a topping for chicken parmesan of all things. And it's kind of reinvigorated my love of fried onion. I have always liked fried onion, but I stopped buying it because once this is open, I'm gonna eat it like a snack. But I don't know. I'm gonna be making one of the soup dishes. It's actually a chicken ramen dish for this month, and they had it as an ingredient. It wasn't really necessary. Honestly, it was kind of weird in the soup. It wasn't weird, but it got soggy fast. Let's put it that way. But now I don't know. I wanted the fried onions. It was quite a long explanation for I want fried onions. Okay, we have some pepper jack flavored Cheez-Its. I mentioned earlier how sometimes I get tempted to buy things in individual packs, and there was a variety pack of Cheez-Its, but it was just the base flavor and white cheddar, which I'm sure my guy would like just fine. But I know he likes this a little bit better, so maybe it's a good thing that I can only get it in the big box format instead of the wasteful, individually packaged format. And then we have some mushrooms. I continue my love-hate relationship with mushrooms. I love eating them at this point, like pretty much in all of their forms. I've sauteed them and roasted them and, put them in soups. I still get a little squiggly about cutting them, though. They kind of, I don't know, just the word spore. I don't know. But I do know one of the things I like the least is when the little canopy, I don't know if you call that a canopy or not, but when this little, the arbor that opens up that eventually will release the spores, if it were going to live long enough. I know that when those are really open, I don't like it. And I especially don't like it when I pick up the mushroom and my finger ends up in that little, cavity. It's so weird for me to enjoy a food item, but also be repulsed by it at the same time. Do you have any foods that are like that for you? Or am I just a weirdo? I might be a weirdo. Okay, moving right along, we have a lime here, and there should be another lime rustling around in that bag. We'll get to it soon enough, I'm sure. But this is what we will pickle the jalapenos with. It's a quick pickle. It's not a canned pickle or a jarred pickle. But it's really, I don't know, doing quick pickles is a very fun thing that I learned from the meal kit stuff. And then I got a whole bunch of garlic. I usually just get one head of garlic, and it's typically a bit bigger than one of these guys is. But I inevitably run out of garlic before the end of the month every time. And it's something that keeps pretty well for a long period of time, as long as it's dark. Too much sunlight and they'll sprout. So I was looking at this big old bag of garlic and I'm like, that feels like a lot of garlic, but there's no reason not to get it. So we'll see how long that lasts me. Definitely use a lot of garlic in this household. And then next up, we have some garlic and herb all-purpose seasoning, rustic Tuscan style. So, just like how the Peruvian chicken has fajita mix as its spice, a lot of the dishes in this delivery service that I've been getting just have normal spice blends that are just tiny bit different. So there was a dish that had Tuscan spice. Actually, I've had a couple with the Tuscan spice. And as far as I can tell, it's basically Italian seasoning with just different proportions. So I was kind of excited to see this in the store because I hadn't really ever seen Tuscan spice in a jar. I've only gotten it from the meal kit. But it exists, and now I don't have to like take some Italian dress or Italian seasoning and, you know, adulterate to get at what the recipe is trying for. So that'll be great. And then our last item, I believe, well, kind of the last item. I also see our rogue lime. That's the second lime. But to complement all of that garlic, I have a nice big old bag of onions. And I know for a fact that we'll pretty much go through near all of these in a month. We are now moving along to our cooler bags today, the refrigerated items. And first up is some bacon. It's generally a little cheaper to buy them in these economy packs, but you don't see me do that too often because typically the pieces that end up in here, because I'm sure if you're not familiar with how at least any grocery store I've been into handles bacon, is they'll have like a deli section or a meat counter rather, where you can buy bacon by the pound, and then whatever's left over gets put into these kinds of containers at the end of the night or whenever they decide to refresh the supply. But the problem with it, you know, and I don't mind using something that's maybe a bit of a misfit, because, you know, if I don't eat the bad bacon, it's not bad. If I don't eat the fatty bacon, and no one else eats the fatty bacon, then that's just sad. There was so much effort that went into making that product. So I want to buy from there, but as alluded to the fact that I called it fatty bacon, because it's the leftover pickings, it's always like the most fatty pieces. So I needed more bacon than just that, so I got one that was kind of like that. And then I got one breaking format by finding something specific. There we go. And then I got one that's like this, a little more lean, and you know, because it has no air exposure, this is going to last a lot longer. And really, the grocery haul doesn't always last a month, never lasts a month, but the idea is to get all of the mainstays for the month all in one kind of a go, right? So that's why I have 2 bacons. And then I'm just dropping things off of my counter like all day today. Goodness gracious, what fell? Okay. Our fallen item is some ranch. Just Butterfingers today. I think it's because I didn't clean off the counter, so all of this doesn't have enough breathing room. But yeah, jalapeno ranch, and then some green onions, aka scallions, and some cream cheese. I've got name brand cream cheese today. I feel fancy schmancy. But I only have the name brand because the store was oddly out of its shop brand. So, we'll give it a go. I say give it a go like I think it's going to be bad cream cheese. I know it's going to be great cream cheese. I just have bought the store brand for so long. It's weird. It's weird to have the name brand. Okay. And here we have some ground beef. One of the dishes I'll be recreating from the meal kit is it's like a Tuscan meatball kind of a dish. And so you make the meatballs and then it gets tossed in a cream sauce and it has the Tuscan herbs in it, right? So I have that. And then you put all of that with spaghetti. So it's like spaghetti and meatballs, but I've never had spaghetti and meatballs with a cream sauce before this experience. And it was pretty tasty. I think their version of meatballs was really on the bland side, because typically when I make meatballs, I'll I'll get those aromatics going. I'll saute some onion and garlic, let it cool down, add it to the ground beef, do things like that. Whereas their recipe was like, add a package of ketchup and some breadcrumbs. I think that's the one that was like ketchup and breadcrumbs. Some of the meals, man, I've actually learned a lot from this meal kit. But there are days where I look at that and I'm like, maybe I should have double checked the ingredient list before I added it to my box, because I don't know how this is going to be good. Anyways. And then speaking of the Tuscan, sorry, brain fart here, because I just read, all right, this right here, used for grilled cheese as in sandwiches. Okay. So let me back up a second, because you're like, what is she talking about? One of the things I get, sorry if I'm talking about the delivery kit too much this month, I'm sorry. But one of the things you can get is they call grilling cheese, not grilled cheese, but grilling cheese. And the grilling cheese, you like put a whole hunk of it right in your skillet and you brown it on the outsides or crisp it up on the outsides. And usually you toss some herbs in it and whatnot. But it's kind of fun. So I got distracted for a second because this says used for grilled cheese. I was like, is this the stuff that's grilling cheese? And it's not. It's not. I think halloumi is the one. They don't tell you what type of cheese it is. It literally comes in a package just marked grilling cheese. I was excited that this would be that too, but this has a purpose. I did not buy it to put it on the grill. The Tuscan meatball dish that I was just talking about has a cream-based sauce, as I mentioned, and they use a cheese roux base in it. And it's just a pre-made like packet au roux, which is weird. But I won't have a packet au roux when I'm making it on my own. So I was like, So I've got to make basically a cream sauce, so a bechamel sort of situation, and add cheese to it. What's a good melting cheese? And I decided to go with Havarti. So we will. Oh, I'm thinking this will be good. It should be good. Did buy a lot of ingredients for one dish, though. It's never a good sign. And then finishing out that bag is a bag. Carrots. Good old baby carrots right there. And we got one more cooler bag, so we're not quite done yet. We're getting close to the end though. And first out of our second cooler bag, some good old Parmesan cheese. I love the shaved kind the best. I don't know if they use less caking agent in it or something, but for whatever reason, this one tastes better than when I get the shredded Parmesan. Isn't that the weirdest thing? I mean, I guess that's why they sell both kinds. Because people have preferences, but you wouldn't think the shape of the cheese would matter that much. Then we have some good old asparagus. This was only $1 today for this huge bundle of asparagus. Must be asparagus season somewhere nearby. I know that's not true of here. We just got a huge snowstorm this past weekend. And it snowed Friday and Saturday. And Saturday it stopped snowing. And a little fact, I don't think I've shared this before. Maybe I have. My guy loathes the snow. He hates it. Right? The capital H hates it. He doesn't even like looking at it. Even when he doesn't have to go anywhere and he can be at home, doesn't bother, it's not actively snowing on him. He'll still look out the window and see snow and he'll just shake his fist at it or grumble or whatever manner of, communications he needs to let the snow know he does not appreciate it. But anyways, so it snowed Friday, it snowed Saturday. Sunday, nice and clear. The roads got plowed, or at least our apartment got plowed. But sometimes our apartment will get plowed before the city streets do. It's kind of a crapshoot, right? And so he decided to work from home. This is the whole point of the story. He decided to work from home on Monday, and I was sad because I work from home every day, and it throws me off when he's around because then I go into weekend mode. But luckily he only worked from home for half the day. I think he started to feel bad because I don't know. I was trying to not make him feel bad, and I just made him feel worse because normally I'll work in the living room because that's where I normally work. And when he did his work from home on Monday, I was like, let's just take today off. And I was playing phone games in the bedroom instead. And he comes in the bedroom and he's like, I noticed you weren't out. And I was like, yeah, I'm just playing games. He's like, it upsets you that much, huh? Like, I can't win for losing on this situation. You're gonna feel bad because you know I don't want you here. Which is, it's a funny thing. But we're good enough in our relationship that I could just be like, I love you to death, but I am a person who needs lots of space. Lots and lots of space and quiet time, and he knows that. Anyways, let's get back to the groceries. I got some chicken thighs. We're gonna start trying to use chicken thighs more. It's a little cheaper than the chicken breasts here in America, or the United States rather. I hear that the opposite is true in some countries, like mostly I hear it with like the Middle East kind of a area that they actually prefer dark meat, so their breast meat is the one that's cheaper. But that's not true here. But I have some chicken breasts as well. This one's quite a chunky monkey right there. And then next up, I have not one, but two. Let's see if I can get it at the same time. Wow, it's a heavy boy. I have 2 beef briskets, more specifically corned beef brisket. It's on sale right now because March is St. Patrick's Day, St. Patty's Day, right? And I was able to get these for $2.98 a pound, which is that is a really good price for corned beef brisket. Granted, that price was only for the point cut and not the flat cut. For me personally, the cut, I know the flat cut is the preferred cut, and you can tell because it's like $2 more a pound. But I cook it in the Instapot and it comes out fine no matter what cut I get. So, anyways, so I saw that was on sale and I got 2 of them. I was like, maybe I'll make one tonight and then I'll make one on St. Patty's Day. And that was my logic, that would be like spread out enough because my guy doesn't want the same meal over and over and over again, right? I probably could eat brisket for half the month if you let me. So I was excited. This was already a plan in my head. And granted, it's like 8 o'clock in the morning when I'm doing my grocery shopping because I've got to record the film or, talk to you guys rather. And I also have to go and take care of my grandfather here soon. So really early, it's early. I have this plan, and my mother-in-law, I love her to death, and I know she does a St. Patrick's Day thing. But she wants to do the St. Patty's Day celebration this weekend. So like the 9th or the 10th, somewhere around there, which puts her St. Patrick's Day meal in between the 2 times I wanted to cook corned beef. So now I can't cook it tonight. I probably could get away with cooking it on actual St. Patty's Day just because it's a holiday. But yeah, I should not cook one tonight. The good thing though is that corned beef keeps like so long. If I actually had like a chest freezer or, a secondary fridge or any kind of thing like that, I probably would have bought like 4 of these. Because you can't get it for $3 a pound very often anymore. But let's see. Where does this one go bad? May 28th. Okay, that's actually a little sooner than I thought it would be. That still gives us 2 months to use it. Assuming I don't freeze it, which, if you freeze it, you got so many more months. Moving along, we have one last cooler item, and that is some good old-fashioned butter. And we have one little freezer bag, so I'll go ahead and grab that. And in our freezer bag, we've got Hot Pockets, 2 more of these Hot Ones brand of Hot Pockets. They have a little heat scale, and it's interesting because it just says 5 out of 10. I think I've discussed this before. And my guy says that for a commercially prepared thing, they have a little bit of heat to them. He doesn't consider them spicy, but they have a little bit of heat to them. But I find it really interesting that even the Hot Pockets themselves, they're like, we're the hot ones, still give it like a 5 out of 10. So they definitely know they could go more spicy. But there's 2 flavors here. We've got hot habanero, pepperoni, and sausage. So this is kind of like a pizza flavored one. And then on this side, we have smoky green chili cheesesteak. So obviously a cheesesteak flavored one. And that is for my guy to enjoy on Tuesdays when I'm off doing my voice lessons. Voice class is interesting. They do it by because it's like an adult continuing education class, so they're shorter than a normal semester. So it's like 3 months at a time. The first term that I did it, I think the class skewed more amateur. There were definitely people who've taken the class a lot and things like that, but a lot of people exploring things for the first time or, not confident. I'm among that crowd. And this second term, though, it's a smaller class, and almost everybody is experienced. People, not just experienced in the way that they've taken the class once before. No, we're talking people who have paid tutors for private sessions to improve their voice, and they're doing this as another way to improve their voice. So they're singing, classical style music and really, they're singing in Latin. And I'm just sitting here I get told that I sung an A really well, and I'm like, I have no idea what that even means. I'm glad I did it well. I'm gonna have to take some YouTube lessons on the side of just the piano notes, because as I understand it, and this is new for me, so the chords just go through the letters, but then they go through the letters again and again and again, so you can have a C5 and a C4. So when she says you do a good A, if she didn't specify the type of A, I don't know if that was the low A or the higher A. Oh my gosh. And sometimes I'll ask, because it is a class and I should learn, but sometimes I'm like, okay, I've asked too many dumb questions today. I'm just I'm gonna cut it off right there. But yeah, so it's been interesting. And then as like sort of a side interesting thing, I guess, because, I get to gab with you, right? Is I sing low for a female, pretty low. My mother-in-law told me once that I was an alto, which is technically at the top end of the male range and not the bottom end of the female range, which is oh gosh, tenor. Oh, maybe I'm switching them, alto and tenor. I can't remember which one's which right now. Anyways, I believe my mother-in-law is really the moral of the story, because these girls, because there's only girls in the class this time. We had one guy, but he dropped out. And I really like it when there's guys in the class, because then it encourages the teacher to do some low stuff. Without guys in the class, they're all just like, oh, and I am not there. I'm just not there. So what was I? Oh yeah. So just to wrap up, this term has been a challenge, but I think I'm gonna still keep doing it. I'm obviously gonna finish this term. It's just a question of how many more times do I sign up for the class. I have been improving and I've been learning a lot, and that's the important part, right? But yeah, it's a little. It's hard not to get self-conscious, even though it's a very warm and welcoming class. It's hard not to get self-conscious when everybody is just so good, and you're like, "What's an A? What does that mean?" That's a weird note for us to finish on, but we are at our last item, and that is some garlic knots. Always got to keep some freezer bread in the freezer. Go figure it on that one. But that's to add to my guy's meals, because he always wants more than I will serve myself, and bread in particular is generally just empty calories in my book, so I make those for him. And if it's at the end of the video, it is shout out time, right? For my lovely commenters. So shout out to Shelly Mitchell, Life on Plants, Wicca Banks, Dulce Crystal, Violet is Spaghetti. Oh, that's a new one. Welcome, or thank you. I don't think I've seen that username before. Allison Hamblin, Max, of course, always Max, aka Apple Tree. And yeah, thank you guys for commenting, and I will see you again next month. Nighty night.